Today I want to do a short video on the Kubota 3560 HST. It's a limited. Limited on a Kubota tractor doesn't mean that it's better. It means that it has less. There are limited things on there. A couple of things I have added back to it, like the cruise control that doesn't come on the limited, but I had them put it on when I bought the tractor. But I'm going to go over the hay tedder and operating the hay tedder for my daughters so that they can look back to this and reference. But if anybody else sees it, maybe it'll help them. So here's the setup. It's a Kubota 3560 HST hydrostatic transmission with a 4-basket hay tedder on here. It's got a manual adjustment for the tine height as it's going through the TED. Manual locks on here. This is the locking device that keeps it in the transport position. PTO is connected down here. We always make sure we got a hitch pin with the R pin. It's an R pin because it looks like an R in place. You also want to make sure that you have the hydraulic hose out of the way. If it's down here, it can get pulled over this way and into the tire. If it pulls that out, it's not a good day. It can be a little expensive. You just don't want to damage anything. So that's the basic setup, and we'll go over the different parts. Here we are inside the cab of the HST. Here is the hydrostatic transmission, the go pedal, as I would call it. Push down, has arrows on here for forward. Push down here, push it back, rock it back for reverse, rock it forward for forward. Our key start switch. I always like to, when I start these tractors, let it go through its prove out for all the instruments. May not have anything to do, but it's something I learned with the fire department with the ladder trucks and stuff that, you know, we let them go through those. So you turn it to the on position, 2 clicks, instruments go up, go back down, and then you can go into the start. When you turn it off, make sure you go all the way back to the stop. And I always check to make sure that the key can come out at that point, because if not, it can run up hours if you leave it in this position or this position. We don't want to run up hours that we don't need. This is the cruise control button. It's a 2-stage switch on both sides. Has a single stage for set all the way down, and then the set is all the way down, and then you can add or subtract speed by pushing it partially. So cancel is all the way down, and then it's 1 click is the cancel or reduce speed. So I usually try to stabilize my hand on next to the switch when I'm using it, so I don't, when you're bouncing through the field, because if you're bouncing and you're trying to slow down a little bit, and you'll just hit cancel and you'll stop. So if you stabilize your hand here, your fingers here, and then you push down, you can have more control over the settings that you want. And we'll go over that later in the video on setting that. This is the joystick control for the front end loader. Here's your lift arm control. Typically we run them all the way up when I'm running implements or attachments on the back of the tractor, just to keep them out of the way. Some attachments, however, you have to run them down to keep them out of the way. It just depends on what's attached. Just make sure that. Here's the SCV valve controls, the remotes in the back of the tractor. You can see they're numbered 1 and 2. And if you look at these diagrams, it will show you what is happening with the cylinder when you go that way. So if you go back, it's showing you it's going to extend the cylinder. If you go forward, it's showing you it's going to retract the cylinder. That also coincides with the connections back here. So we see it's 1 and 2 coincides with the numbers 1 and 2 up there. And we can see this side is an extension, and this side is a retraction, because the cylinder, it shows you what's going to happen with fluid. You're going to send it here, it's going to extend it out. If you send it here, it's going to pull it back in, push it back in. So I run this opposite, just like, because it makes more sense to me when I'm in the cab to pull up for up and push down for down. So I hook them on opposite side of what you would think would happen with that cylinder, and it works fine. There's no problem with that. This is the throttle control. Low engine speed is turtle, high engine speed is rabbit. Here's the PTO control. It's in the open position or off with the circle. The on is the line right here. You have your indicator. It also has instructions on here what to do. You push down and rotate. Down, rotate, it should be engaged. When you're finished, ready to turn it off, all you have to do is push down on it and it clicks back. Here are your brake pedals. Here's the parking brake. You depress the brake. While you're holding the brake down, you lift up on the lever for the parking brake. You can release this, it'll hold it in the engaged position. Over here we have four-wheel drive engaged. You can see here that the wheels are disconnected. That means it is not in four-wheel drive. Down here, everything's connected. It's engaged or in four-wheel drive. This is the power takeoff for the front. If you look on the picture, it shows the power takeoff in the middle for the front implements. Down is, you can see on the diagram, it is still not moving. If you pull it up, it shows an arrow indicating that there's rotation. So down is off, up is on. We leave that down for most things on here. You have 3 speeds available on the transmission, low, medium, and high. There's a neutral in between each one. Right now it's on the medium position. On the side of the steering column, you have a fast and slow, turtle and rabbit, that will give you 2 selections within each one of those. So you run it low. If you need a little more speed in that gear, you can pull it up to the high. So once you're in the tractor, this handle on the outside right here, you pull it back, it raises it. Once it's raised and you let down a little bit, the locks engage right there. The silver things are the locks right there. In order to release the locks and let it down, you have the string. First, you're going to lift it up. Then you will pull the string, and that pulls the locks away. You see that? And then you lower the tether. It does one side. Once the lock's clear, you can let go of the string, and that's that. In order to set the tether, to set the height of the tether, you want the tines right here to just barely be scuffing the ground. So this handle, if you rotate it counterclockwise, counterclockwise, that brings the tines closer to the ground. You see the wheels moving back, the tines are going closer to the ground. Now it levers right there. So just barely off the ground where it just picks up the grass. When you're traveling though, you'll need those up, so you take the handle and you turn it clockwise, and that brings it up, and it just needs to be up off the ground a little bit, just like so. When you're ready to ted the grass, to run the tedder, obviously you're seated in the seat with your seatbelt on. The tedder's back here. We turn on the PTO once it's down. Make sure it's down. Don't turn it on when it's raised in the up position. It's got to be down. Here's the PTO. We are ready to go. So you push in, push it down. This is off, this is on. Push it down and twist the indicator to the on position. It spins. Turn the auto throttle off and raise the RPMs. Let's go back. We want to see what the PTO is. PTO speed, we want to be at 540. So you raise the RPMs until that's 540. Just look at it, watch it go. And then you drive like normal, you just push the pedal down and go. And it will do this little tetting thing back there. When you're finished, or when you need to stop, first thing you do is you stop, lower the RPM down to idle. Always idle first, and then all you gotta do is push in, and it goes straight to off. Before you ever go back there, before anybody gets close, you make sure that's off. We're gonna talk about the cruise control. So I don't have the PTO going, but that's fine. When you're running up here, you're gonna be running about 2200 RPM. And that's fine. So here's the cruise control button. It says set and cancel. When you push this down, it's a 2-stage switch. It clicks down, and if you push it harder, it clicks again. You can hear it twice. 1, 2. Just click, click. So anyways, so what you're gonna do is we're gonna get to going about the speed we want to go. Let's say we want to go at 2 miles an hour. So I'm gonna use the foot pedal to get up to 2 miles an hour. And then I'm gonna I'm gonna push the set, and I can let off my foot. Now it's gonna run 2 miles an hour. My foot's on in here. Well, what do you do if you need to stop? All you have to do is hit the brake, and it'll automatically take it out of cruise control. We're gonna go back up to 2. Set a little faster this time. First thing, we can hit the brake, it stops it. You can also hit the back pedal, the reverse pedal, it'll stop it. Let's go back up to set it again. And a third option, it says cruise is set. Third option is if you hit cancel, you can just push all the way down. It stops. So another thing, so we got the 2-stage switch. For a 2, if we want to go just a little faster, you just don't push it all the way. You just push that first click. Click, click, it beeps. And it goes just a little bit faster. If you want to slow down a little bit, push back, just a little click. Now, you see I've got my finger here on this to stabilize my hand. Right there, and then that way when I push the button, it's easier that I don't push all the way down. Down, down. If I need to stop again, push it all the way down. It stops.